Hey guys, I'm Papa Pete, and today I'm going to rank some more different games for the Intellivision system, one of the other subsets that we loved so much back in the day that formed part of the original 125 on the system, and that is, I'm going to rank the Parker Brothers games. Here we go. They're probably one of the most famous games, or the most well-known games that the Parker Brothers released for the Intellivision back in the day. Was released on almost every system going, and that's Frogger. Frogger was a classic arcade hit that is known and loved by millions of people, frankly, and was ported to almost every system going, like I said, with varying degrees of success. I would call the Intellivision port right about in the middle. It took the system, got as much as it could out of the system. It's quite simplified gameplay, but they did manage to bring over a lot of the features from the arcade hit and managed to incorporate them into this game. Is it quite as smooth? No. Is it always that easy to play? No. But overall, you do get a very good Frogger experience, and people love that game, so that's the experience you're looking for. And at the end of the day, I'm going to give Frogger, I'm going to give it a B rating. Next up is the arcade hit Popeye, which of course was going to be the basis of what became Donkey Kong, right? It was going to be a Popeye game. And eventually that became Donkey Kong, and Popeye got its own release. This port is quite faithful to the arcade. It brought over a lot of the elements into it. The graphics, of course, aren't quite as good. The sounds are pretty good in this game, but there's some real control elements with getting up and down the stairs, I found. Got all three screens in here, which I really like. And frankly, I do enjoy playing this game, even though it can get a little bit frustrating when you can't get up and down those stairs. So overall, I like the game Popeye, and I'm going to rank Intellivision Popeye as a C. On the heels of Popeye is another arcade hit. Of course, this one is Qbert. Very famous. Qbert was seen so many different places because people just love the character. Pixels, of course, it was one of the main characters in Pixels. And when it was ported over to the Intellivision back in the early 80s, my first take on the game when we played it back then is I really didn't care for the controls a whole lot. But I wasn't used to them at all either. I hadn't played Qbert in the arcade at that time. And the angled controller type method just didn't quite compute with me. Many years later, when I picked this game up again, I actually found that process to be a little bit more easy, and I got a lot more enjoyment out of the game the last couple of years. So overall, is it faithful to the arcade? Yeah, it's quite faithful to the arcade. It looks decent, it sounds great, and I'm going to give Qbert, I'm going to rank it as a B. So now we have the only one of the Parker Brothers releases that was not a port of an arcade game, and it's an actual port of an original Atari 2600 game, the very first Star Wars game ever released for a home video console, and that is Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. We all know it. You fly the snowspeeder, you take out the walkers, the AT-ATs, and it's a really challenging, never-ending game. Like most of the games were at the time, it's a matter of getting a high score, but it's quite difficult. I played this Atari version a lot when I was young, and frankly never played this one much at all until the last 3 or 4 years. And I do find there's some serious control differences between the two games. And for the Intellivision version, it's not better. It's actually, I find it very difficult to control. It's hard to avoid shots. You just sort of have to intentionally go extremely slow to really keep in control. I love the gameplay itself. The premise of the game is awesome, but it's just the application of the gameplay into the Intellivision system wasn't as strong as I like. And if I want to play a game of this right now, I'd probably pick up the Atari 2600 version. That being said, it's far from the worst game in the world, but I'm going to give Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back on the Intellivision, I'm going to rank it as a D. Next up is a game that I didn't play in the arcades, but I didn't play back in the original Intellivision days in the 80s because, of course, it was a European-only release, and that's Super Cobra. Very neat gameplay style, like Scramble. I did play Scramble quite a bit in the arcade back in the day. They have one right here in my local town. It's in the main department store. You'd walk into the mall and there it was. So every kid played Scramble, right? But it's very similar. And I had played it a little bit since I got this game 2 or 3 years ago and really had a difficult time with it. But I put a little bit more patience into it and played a little bit more, and I've gotten better at it, and I've gotten to enjoy it more as I learn the controls. So is it the absolute best controlling game in the world? Far from it. Is it an excellent port of the arcade game? I really can't say because I didn't play the arcade game very much. But overall, I'd say that it did as good a job as it could, but it possibly could have been better. At the end of the day, I'm going to rank Super Cobra for the Intellivision as a C. So let's get us down to the very last Parker Brothers game for the Intellivision, the original 125, and that is Tutankhamun. Again, another quite famous arcade port back in the day, or arcade hit back in the day, but one that I had never played. I didn't play this one until probably about 3 years ago, and really kind of enjoyed it. It's a bit of a maze game, but a shooter at the same time, but it does have some fallbacks. There are spots where you can just go in there, and if you want to score high scores, you can just basically farm for points, no problem whatsoever, and it gets very challenging later on to get to the more advanced levels, I guess is the way. So to actually defeat the level, because there's a lot of backtracking. One key over to open a door, then you gotta go right across the entire screen backwards, the entire maze, and then work your way back over to that door once you get that other key again. And I don't know, it seems like kind of monotonous, repetitive gameplay to me quite a bit. Do I play it once in a while? Yeah, I will pick it up and play it once in a while, but is it the best game in the world? No. But then again, it's not the worst either. So if I'm going to put it right in the middle, I'm also going to rank Tutankhamun. I'm going to rank it as a C. Well, guys, those are my rankings for the 6 different games released for the Intellivision 125 by Parker Brothers back in the day. Do you agree with them? Do you like games more? Do you dislike games more than these? I'm sure you do, because if we all had the same opinion, it wouldn't be very fun, would it? So if you have different opinions, by all means, put them in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit like, and don't forget to subscribe. It really means a lot to my channel. So until the next rankings video, we'll see you later, and you take care.
Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. Papa Pete, the old ass gamer. If you haven't grown up by the age.
Hey guys, this is Willie from Arcade USA, and you're watching Papa Pete, the old guy gamer.